Help me reach my goal and subscribe. And hit the bell icon.
Chapter 67-76. Charlie didn't care about that and directly ordered. Do as I say. There is a problem with your safety rope. It will break soon. After saying that, he thought about it. And a stream of spiritual energy shot out instantly, directly cutting off the safety rope behind Tawana. However, more spiritual energy was released from his body at the same time, like a pair of invisible hands, directly supporting Tawana's body. The staff thought Charlie was exaggerating. The safety rope can bear at least 800 kilograms. This is the kind used for rock climbing and mountaineering. How could it break? As a result, the stage director was about to refute, and saw that the straightened safety rope behind Tawana suddenly broke and bounced. Seeing this scene, the stage director was so scared that his legs went weak, and he cried out in despair. It's over, I'm completely finished this time. God bless Tawana not to have any accidents. Tawana was still fighting against the strong pulling force behind her, and suddenly felt that the pulling force disappeared instantly. The whole person fell on the iron frame in front of her and screamed in fear. Fortunately, it was not time to sing yet, and the tuner did not turn up the volume of her microphone. Otherwise, her scream would be heard by the audience. Tawana turned around and looked at the broken rope behind her. Her legs went weak with fear. The rope was broken, and she was completely unprotected. She could only rely on herself to hold onto the iron frame in front of her. But if that happened, wouldn't she be in a mess later? The effect presented to the audience is not that she stepped on the fallen big screen, but she lay on the back of the big screen. Just when she was in a panic, Charlie's voice suddenly rang in her ears. Don't be nervous, stand up straight and boldly, I will protect you. Mr. Wade. Tawana was shocked. She thought that Charlie was talking to her through her earphones. But she soon realized that the sound from the earphones was far less faithful. Charlie's voice was like speaking in her ear, without any distortion. She was a very good musician, and was very sensitive to timbre. She knew that this was impossible for any headphones to do. So she looked down in horror, and saw Charlie standing under the stage, making an okay gesture to her from a distance. She felt warm and relieved. However, she was still a little nervous, because the safety rope had broken. If she fell down accidentally, she would definitely fall to death on the stage. The stage director asked nervously on the intercom. Tawana, how do you feel now? Do you want us to stop the collapse of the big screen immediately and find a way to rescue you? Charlie quickly used his spiritual energy to communicate with Tawana's mind. Don't be afraid. I broke the safety rope behind you. Only in this way can you ensure that your performance will not be affected. Tell the stage director that you can hold on and don't let the big screen stop. I will protect you from danger. Tawana naturally believed in Charlie more. After all, when she was in Tokyo, she knew that Charlie's strength was far beyond the understanding of normal people. It should not be difficult for him to cut off his safety rope silently. More importantly, he is an extremely responsible man. Since he did this, he must have his intentions and confidence. So she immediately said, Don't worry about me. Just make sure the big screen falls normally, and is not affected in any way. The stage director blurted out. But if something happens to you, you will die if you fall down. Tawana said firmly, "Don't worry. I have the blessing of my loved ones. And I will definitely be able to turn the danger into safety." Chapter 67-77. The stage director thought that Tawana was just in love, and said nervously, "It is too risky." Tawana was not afraid at all, but said very calmly, "Just do what I say. I will definitely turn the danger into safety." The stage director had no choice at this time. After all, Tawana's safety rope had broken. And it was difficult to ensure Tawana's personal safety whether the big screen was moving forward or backward. If it continued according to the original plan. Although it was also very dangerous. There was still a certain chance that the original stage design could be perfectly presented. Therefore, the stage director could only risk it and tell her, "Then you must pay attention to safety. And you must hold on to the support tightly. It will be much safer if you hold on to the second half." After that, the stage director reminded, "In addition, you must remember that once the big screen keeps falling, you must not stand up too early. As long as you lie firmly behind the big screen, you will be in the relatively safest state. Once you stand up, the risk is high." Tawana ignored it. She knew that since Charlie wanted to help her ensure that the performance was not affected, she must not lie down behind the big screen. This kind of appearance was really too embarrassing. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that she must be afraid. Originally, according to the design, she was standing behind the big screen, with the spirit of stepping on the big screen and knocking it down before appearing on stage. So, she mustered up her courage and slowly stood up as Charlie said. At this moment, countless people in the backstage screamed nervously. And Tawana herself was somewhat panicked. At such a high height, if she fell, she would be doomed. However, fortunately, there was an invisible force around her body that bound her firmly in place. She knew that Charlie must have done this. In addition to being amazed, she was also more shocked and moved by him. At this time, as the angle of the big screen tilted forward exceeded 30 degrees. Many viewers sitting in the highest position, at the farthest distance, had already seen Tawana standing behind the big screen. This position used to be called the top of the mountain, because it is not only high but also far away. Now that there are big screens in concerts, it is relatively friendly to them. When there were no big screens, they could only bring their own binoculars to barely see who was on the stage. At this time, the audience at the top of the mountain saw their dream idol appear in such a shocking way. And they immediately screamed excitedly. Since the seats are lower as they get closer to the stage, and even in the inner field, the height of people is lower than the stage. So at this time, most of the audience nearby still don't know what happened. The angle of the big screen is getting bigger and bigger. Soon, more and more people saw Tawana. And Tawana began to wave to the crowd who saw her. And the atmosphere on the scene became more and more heated. When the big screen was about to fall completely, everyone on the scene saw Tawana standing on the big screen, waving to the audience with open arms. The cheers on the scene were deafening, and the whole stadium fell into a boiling frenzy. Under Charlie's protection, Tawana walked off the big screen unscathed, and then walked to the T stage with the dancers waiting in front of the T stage, stepping to the rhythm of the music. Then, Tawana picked up the microphone and sang passionately. The scene fell into madness again, with screams one after another. Tavanna's team all breathed a sigh of relief. No one expected that after such a big stage accident. The performance was not affected at all. Chapter 67-78. Charlie finally put his mind at ease at this time. He looked at Tavanna, who was concentrating on singing on the stage backstage. And he couldn't help but look at this woman with admiration. Putting aside the problems of her personal life, Tavanna's attainments in music are indeed unparalleled. Every song she wrote has a strong memorable point. So she can top the list of major charts. During the 1-hour performance, Tavanna almost did not rest throughout the whole process. And the hot songs followed one after another. Most of the time, there were tens of thousands of people singing together. And the atmosphere was quite warm. At this time, the time for Saa to appear on the stage was getting closer and closer. At this time, Saa had come to the lifting platform and was ready. At this time, Tavanna had just finished a song and sang her most famous song, Romeo. As soon as the prelude sounded, the audience on the scene boiled again. They basically fell in love with Tavanna because of this song. So this song is definitely Tavanna's famous song. As soon as Tawana opened her mouth, tens of thousands of people sang in unison. When the first part was finished and the interlude sounded, Tawana said to the microphone, "I am very honored to be able to bring such a hearty performance to everyone in Yangjing. For today's performance, I specially invited my good friend to be my guest. This is the first time I have invited a guest at my personal concert. I hope everyone can welcome her with the warmest applause." All the fans were surprised. In the past, Tawana basically performed the entire concert by herself. It was rare to hear her invite any guest performers. This was mainly because her popularity was too high. And there was really no need to cooperate with a group of singers who were much less famous than herself. This time, Tawana not only clearly told everyone at the concert that she would invite guests, but also said that the guests had a good relationship with her and was specially invited by her. So a lot of audiences began to speculate, wondering who was the guest performer for Tang Wana this time. At this time, the interlude was over. All the cameras and big screens on the scene were suddenly aimed at the 5 central electric lifts. The next second, the lift saw Saa, who was wearing a white wedding dress, push out. When she was sent to the stage, she immediately picked up the microphone and sang Tawana's Romeo. There were 5 big screens on the stage, 3 of which were on the stage. In addition to the liftable screen in the middle, there was also a fixed screen on each side. In addition, there were 2 sets of high-definition big screens on both sides of the stage. These 2 big screens were the key to allowing the audience who bought in the distance to see the stage clearly. When Saa's handsome face appeared on the big screen, the scene suddenly erupted in an almost fanatical cheer. No one thought that the guest invited by Tawana was Saa. More than half of the audience were Chinese. So they recognized Saa for the first time. Many fans who liked Saa even stood up and applauded her. At this time, Tawana took the initiative to walk towards Saa, who had just come on stage, and hugged her warmly when she finished singing the first section. Then, Tawana took the microphone and shouted, "Please welcome Miss Saa with your warmest applause." At this time, the performance scene was completely boiling. It was almost unprecedented that 2 top female singers from the East and the West performed on the same stage, which gave the audience a great surprise. When the 2 finished singing this duet, The applause and screams of the fans lasted for several minutes. At this time, Tawana took Sa's hand, and the two walked to the center of the stage together. Then Tawana bowed slightly to everyone and said with a smile, "Next, I will hand over the stage to Sa. I hope everyone can enjoy her musical charm." After that, she hugged Sa gently. And then she came to the top of the lifting stage and slowly descended to the applause of tens of thousands of audience. Then, Sa started her first song of the night. Chapter 67-79. Tawana had just descended from the lifting platform to the bottom of the stage. And a large group of staff immediately surrounded her. The major mistake at the beginning made everyone sweat. Even now, many people in charge are extremely nervous. And they didn't know how Tawana would deal with them. The stage director and the equipment engineer came up to him as soon as possible. Looking at Tawana nervously and ashamedly, the stage director said, "I'm sorry, Miss Sweet. It's all my fault. I didn't eliminate all the hidden dangers in time." The equipment engineer also said ashamedly, "Miss Sweet, all the equipment debugging is my responsibility. The winch failure this time is all my fault. My work is not in place. I am willing to bear all the consequences. I'm sorry." Tawana didn't want to argue with them at this time. She just wanted to see Charlie as soon as possible. So she said to the two of them, "You two each have a major mistake. If such a problem occurs again next time, I will fire you all." The two of them hurriedly thanked them respectfully, as if they were pardoned. For the attributes of their work, following Tawana is definitely the best job in the world. Tawana not only has many concerts around the world, but also has a high profit margin for each concert. Based on this, they get more pay for more work. And the bonus they get for each concert is much higher than following other singers. No one wants to lose this job. Tawana gave them a major mistake. For them, if they want to keep this job, they can't make any more mistakes in the future. This will make them have to go all out in their future work. Tawana didn't want to waste time with the staff at this time. She walked out of the passage under the stage, and after reaching the right side of the stage, she began to look for Charlie everywhere. It happened that Charlie was here to watch Sa's performance. She couldn't hold back her excitement and immediately walked up quickly and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, thank you so much for this all." Charlie looked at her and smiled. "Don't be so polite. After all, I am also a staff member of your concerts here. You are my employer, and I have the responsibility to protect your safety." Tawana nodded gently, her eyes were already full of tears. When she was on the high platform, she was indeed very flustered and very nervous, fearing that this concert would fall into her hands as soon as it started. And when Charlie, by some unknown means, cut off the safety rope behind her, she was also very scared for a while. But when she thought of his great magical powers, and his steady and omnipotent way of doing things, and that he could turn danger into safety even in the most dangerous predicament, Tawana gradually relaxed. When she stepped onto the stage, her gratitude and admiration for Charlie had reached its peak. At this moment, she just wanted to throw herself into his arms and cry loudly, and then kiss him desperately. This idea was so strong that she couldn't control herself and rushed forward several times. However, she knew that Charlie had no improper thoughts about her. And although the tens of thousands of spectators backstage could not see it, hundreds of staff members could see it. If she hugged Charlie and asked for a kiss, the news would spread quickly. Helplessly, she could only restrain the strong impulse in her heart. However, she soon focused her mind on the performance with Charlie later. Chapter 67-80. She suddenly had a bold idea, in the name of the performance, on the stage, in front of tens of thousands of spectators, and even fans all over the world, to boldly express her love for Charlie. At this time, Charlie did not put much thought into Tawana. He kept looking at Saa on the stage, and she was singing wholeheartedly. Charlie saw it in his eyes and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Even on the same stage with Tawana, a top international singer, even in front of her fans, Saa could be neither humble nor arrogant, and perform steadily, and even perform exceptionally. This ability to be stronger when facing strong opponents is indeed much stronger than ordinary people. It was also at this moment that Charlie looked at Saa, no longer as a little sister, but as a strong woman with extraordinary abilities. Tawana was very envious. She could see that although Charlie was very good to his wife, he also loved Saa very much. In Charlie's heart, she must have a very important position. As for herself, Charlie seemed to only treat her as an ordinary friend. And sometimes she didn't even feel like an ordinary friend, but more like a mutually beneficial partner in the business world. Saa on the stage was using her singing to conquer Tawana's fans who had never heard her songs. It can be seen that although they didn't quite understand what she was singing, they liked her songs, voice, and stage performance very much. And everyone applauded and cheered. After a few songs, the staff came over to remind me. "Miss Sweet, Mr. Wade, you two have to go back to the dressing room to change clothes." Tawana nodded and said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, let's go to the back." "Okay." Charlie agreed and turned to go backstage with her. When Charlie began to put on the assassin's makeup, Saa also finished her penultimate song. Afterward, the big screen began to play some of her and Tawana's behind-the-scenes footage. And Saa quickly went backstage to change her clothes. Saa and Tawana shared a dressing room, and when she came in, Tawana's makeup was half done. Tawana looked at her and said with a smile, "Saa, your performance just now was great. Mr. Wade and I watched from the side for a long time, and we could see that the audience also liked it very much. I just checked the social media, and everyone's evaluation of you is very high." Saa smiled and said, "As long as I don't hold you back." Her makeup artist immediately began to change her look. A few minutes later, Saa finished her styling. She stood up and said to Tawana, "Tawana, your outfit is so beautiful. The combination of Eastern and Western beauty is perfect. When you go on stage later, it will definitely dazzle all the fans." Tawana smiled and said, "As long as the fans like it, it's fine. What I fear most is that the local fans think I've tarnished the traditional culture." "How could that be?" Saa smiled and said, "I think this outfit of yours will definitely become a hot topic on the local social networks." Tawana nodded, thinking to herself, "I don't want to be on the hot search list with my makeup. I want to be on the hot search list with my actions."